Donald Trump is having a psychotic meltdown as it is all falling apart for him. He is terrified of being impeached if and when Democrats take control of the House, and now Democrats are also favored to take control of the United States Senate. Throughout yesterday evening, Donald Trump was posting, again, deranged stuff. He was posting Natalie Harp and Caroline Leavitt, incredible patriots, all the way back in 2021, and he posts some weird interview with them, and each was more deranged than the next. Then Donald Trump does this post that's a gigantic paragraph where he attacks Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey and says they're all losers, they're three losers. And then he says, praise be to Allah at the end of it. I'll talk a little bit more about that. Earlier in the day yesterday, Donald Trump posted in the morning how he was going to be doing a deal with foreign countries to bring in their beef at discounted prices to undercut American ranchers and to destroy American ranchers' business. And he was going to do this deal, 25% cheaper foreign beef, and our ranchers here were like, what the hell is this guy doing? And then last night, we learned that the trade talks between the United States and Canada blew up. I did a video about this last night. Donald Trump, Howard Lutnick, Jameson Greer, and I'm hearing this was really driven also by Lutnick and Trump, but particularly Lutnick as well, trying to bully Canada into basically surrender, you trying to change the terms and trying to, really attack Canada. And Prime Minister Carney said, no way. Let's bring our negotiators back to Ottawa. The Canadian negotiators left. Prime Minister Carney announced Canada's going elbows up and is prepared to fight. And then the Trump regime was like, what do you mean you're leaving? What do you mean you're leaving? And this is the United States, again, continues to attack Canada's sovereignty, but Canada stood strong. So Donald Trump, terrified of being impeached, as you know, he was, ranting and raving like a lunatic in South Carolina about being impeached. He was like, I'm going to lose everything that I worked for is going to be lost. If we lose the midterms, they're going to impeach me. Listen to what he said. Play this clip.
Years ago, they're going to flee our country. I'm going to be impeached. They're going to impeach me. They have no idea why. I saw today a congressman said on one of the shows, we're going to impeach President Trump. We're going to impeach. Oh, really? Why? The person was asking. A neutral commentator for a change. I like neutral commentators. Oh, I see. You're going to impeach him. Why? Well, I don't know.
He went on to say, I don't want to be impeached. Why are they doing this to me? I have no clue why. I'm just trying to be a good person. What are you talking about, you lunatic? You are a war criminal. You are a sexual predator. You are covering up child sex trafficking rings. What in the world are you talking about? Here, let's play this clip.
Yeah, it's a disgusting thing. So you're going to lose everything. I'm going to have to go through impeachment. These are lunatics. These are people that are vicious, violent, that weaponize the justice system, the Justice Department, and they want to destroy our country. They want to see that our country fail. They want our country to fail, and we can't let that happen. You have to get out and vote in the midterms.
Here's the video that Donald Trump posted late last night, this 2021 conversation between Natalie Harp and Caroline Leavitt. And you know that Donald Trump picked Harp in to go on the catering container with him when he was so afraid that Iran was going to blow up old Air Force One. And then Caroline Leavitt announced her resignation, and there's a slew of high-level Trump regime White House officials who are all resigning. Everywhere Donald Trump looks, it seems that there's another resignation every single day. But Caroline was one of the more recent resignations. But this is the video that Donald Trump posted of them back in 2021. And you can see it's just utterly deranged.
But there were shenanigans that went on. Hillary Clinton won it only by 2,700 back in 2016. Biden somehow beat even her margin by tens of thousands, even as President Trump gained like over 20,000 votes. What went on in New Hampshire, and what can New Hampshire do to make it secure going forward for 2022 and 2024?
A lot went on in New Hampshire. Let me tell you, Natalie, I am running for federal office here because I want to ensure that the people of my great state have a voice at the state level and at the federal level. In 2020 in New Hampshire, there were more than 200,000 new voter registrations. By the way, we have a population of 1.3 million. So you tell me if that sounds right.
And speaking about utterly deranged, well, you have whatever the hell's going on with Natalie Harp and whatever. You have Melania Trump posting photos of herself in front of the Grand Prix race cars over here, the IndyCar race car, fostering the future, and she's making some weird pose. I mean, look, while the American people are suffering, can't afford rent right now, can't afford groceries, can't afford gas, right? Gas all-time high in the nation's history. National average right now about $4.11 a gallon, $5.50 a gallon nationwide for diesel. But if you're living in a state like I live in California, it's probably much higher for you than that. The crack spread 321 up $102 a barrel. Price of diesel approaching $200 a barrel. Price of crude approaching $100 a barrel. Right, the crack spreads the delta between your crude and your refinery diesel. That's why they call it the 321, three barrels. But I won't geek out on you with oil. But good to know that Melania is in front of $1 million sports cars and vehicles and posing like the cover of Vogue that she was never on. By the way, in Canada, they are mercilessly mocking Donald Trump and his despicable regime. I saw this video right here of Carney knocking Donald Trump out. Here, play this clip. Perhaps my favorite premier in Canada of Manitoba, Wab Kinew. He was asked yesterday before the trade talks officially collapsed. Remember, I showed you 2 days ago the Wab Kinew interview where he was just unleashing on Donald Trump. And that's the sentiment of most Canadian people I speak to, is what Wab Kinew was saying 2 days ago. I did a whole video on that. But then yesterday, a reporter, and like the Canadian reporters are very much like kind of corporate news in the United States, like they're not all that great. And they, especially in Canada, they often take the perspective of like, how can we appease America? And the Canadian people are so not with that. It's why Meidas Canada, led by Charlie Angus, I think has been so revolutionary and so important to really focus on what the Canadian people are experiencing, not this corporate Canadian media ecosystem that's toxic, not quite as toxic as our ecosystem here in the United States, but our Canadian viewers, the Maple Meidas elbows up, know exactly what I'm talking about. So a reporter asks Wab Kinew, by calling Donald Trump, he's the premier of Manitoba, like a governor for those here in the United States, but a little different. By calling Donald Trump Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, do you think this could damage the relationship? And Kinew's like, yeah, I don't care. It's true. They were best friends. It's an objective fact. Here, play this clip.
And by calling Trump Epstein's best friend, this could potentially damage relationship.
It's true. Everyone saw that Entertainment Tonight video, the two of them together, and that was before AI. It's true.
More from Kinew right here. A reporter asks, so I'm not asking you to recount the comments. Are you concerned, though, that you just may harm the trade negotiation? And Kinew's like, no, I don't care. Here, play this clip.
I'm not asking you to recount the comments. I'm just asking how concerned you are about the potential effect on the trade negotiations.
Not concerned.
Now, here's the little weasel boy, Jameson Greer, after it was announced that Prime Minister Carney withdrew the Canadian negotiators, said, let's get back to Ottawa. The United States is acting in bad faith. As Prime Minister Carney has said, no deal is better than a bad deal. As Warren Buffett said, and Wab Kinew also reiterated, you can't do a good deal with bad people. You can't do good deals with them. And these are bad people. The Trump regime are scumbags. I mean, they're covering up child sex trafficking rings. They're covering up the Epstein files. Like, these are horrific vile piece of trash human beings. But watch this little weasel, Jameson Greer, after it was announced that the negotiations were off, even though Donald Trump announced there was like a deal the day before. Play this clip.
Canada declined to finalize the trade deal under the terms agreed earlier this week. Despite the U.S. offer to Canada to receive the best treatment of any major exporter to our market, new demands and walkbacks of other commitments by Canada have upended the careful balance reached in the past days.
Oh, by the way, while you have the IndyCar racing in Washington, D.C., it was also announced, though, that the Bahrain Grand Prix canceled. It will now be moved to the Spirit of Bahrain is in Malaysia right now. It's the Spirit of Bahrain because the United States security umbrella in the region has collapsed and Iran has been able to strike whenever it wants at Bahrain, and Bahrain knows it's not safe. Tourism crashing there, tourism crashing in all of these U.S. allied countries that thought they would be protected with U.S. military bases, but that ain't happening. Speaking about the security umbrella breaking down, Tom Barrack, the United States ambassador to Turkey, did this interview with Marian Nawfal the other day. He's also the special advisor to Syria. And as the ambassador to Turkey, he opined on Netanyahu's regime striking the airport in Syria that's next to Turkey. And then Netanyahu's been threatening Erdogan a lot lately and saying, we, destroyed that airport. We believe, a lot of people in Netanyahu's regime are saying Syria is like Gaza on steroids. It's our next Gaza, is what a lot of people in the Netanyahu regime are saying. And they're also been saying a lot of threatening things about Erdogan, the president of Turkey. And so you have Tom Barrack saying, I don't know, maybe this will be the next World War III. We'll see. So this is Barrack's Trump's guy. So the fact that he's out there saying, maybe we'll be in World War III, maybe we won't, we'll see. This is Trump's ambassador to Turkey and the special advisor to Syria. Here, play this clip.
We have all of the discussions going on. Is it somebody going to invoke Article 5? The Turkish military is strong. They're courageous. They're very well equipped. They know what they're doing. Could this be World War III? I think our opinion is anything could be World War III from an unintended act if you just looked at World War II. And that's what I think we're all trying to do. And you do a great job in elevating the level of discourse and dialogue so that all of us can start understanding it. And thank you for that. But our belief is there's no intention at all to do any of those things.
Also, you have Tom Barrack recounting a conversation that Trump had with him recently. And he said that Trump asked Erdogan, president of Turkey, why didn't you ever just take Syria? You should have just taken it. And Erdogan said to Trump, why would I? It's not my country. They're their own country. Why would I just take their country? And the fact that Trump was telling Erdogan, you should have seized Syria, and Erdogan saying to Trump, I'm not going to do that. That's another country. And having to explain that to Trump, it also explains what Trump's been trying to do with Canada, to be very clear, and why it's been so important that Canada goes elbows up and push back and punch back the way they have. And Prime Minister Carney's been leading the way. And I want to give a hat tip, though, to the great work of Charlie Angus at Meidas Canada. He's been heroic as well. Play this clip of Tom Barrack. Let's play this other clip.
And by the way, full stop here. You've heard President Trump say before in public, he's asked President Erdogan, why didn't you just take Syria on December 8th? If you were instrumental in helping them, why didn't you just take it? President Erdogan responded, because we don't want it. We want Syria to be a sovereign and independent country as a canvas and a blanket in the middle of this very difficult zip code. Saudi Arabia feels the same. Of course, Israel feels the same.
And then you had Donald Trump on the tarmac before that ridiculous event he did in South Carolina with Darlene Graham, when Donald Trump was saying, I think we'll have a deal with Canada tonight. I think we have one. Wrong. Play this clip.
But they're not ready to make the right deal, in my opinion. Yeah.
For Canada, have you come to a deal there?
Pretty much, I think so. We'll see. I've dealt with the Prime Minister, have a good relationship. And yeah, we have to take care of our farmers. The farmers are very important to me. And the deal with Canada is moving along, and we should be able to have a deal with Canada. We're also starting on a new deal with Mexico. A much better deal for the United States. I only make good deals. Much better deal for the United States, both with Canada and Mexico. Thank you very much.
And then Donald Trump was asked about the beef deal that he announced earlier. So you said you did a deal, Donald. Which countries did you do the deal with? Because you certainly pissed off American ranchers because you said you were going to undercut them by bringing in foreign beef at a 25% discount, and you never alerted the ranchers here. You want to explain to our ranchers or to the American people where this beef is coming from? How about even just from a health perspective? Don't you think the American people might want to know where you're bringing in this very, very ultra cheap beef from, apparently, that you can undercut an actual market by 25%? Also, doesn't this sound very much like communism? But it's like even the most warped form of communism. It's communism to help foreign countries hurt the United States and undercut your own people and your own. It's central planning for other countries in your country. It's like the most deranged stuff imaginable. Any event, here, play this clip of what he's saying.
Mr. President, on the beef deal, which countries did you make that deal with? What are the sources of the beef deal?
I don't want to say which countries, but there are a few countries, but they're going to be sending in the highest quality beef, and it's something that we need.
Because I don't want to say who I did the deal with. I'm going to keep it super secret. Yeah, I can't tell the American people who I did the deal with. Okay, that's bizarre. And then finally, Donald Trump was asked about the $40 trillion debt, which has been hitting the United States. Didn't you say that you were going to reduce the debt? You had Doge and you were going to fix it all and it was going to be great. You're responsible for like 30% of all of the U.S. debt. You're responsible to more debt by far than any other president. It's not even close. And Donald Trump, like the con artist, fraud, scumbag that he is, what does he say? He goes, well, we'll just grow our way out of it. Our growth has been so good that we will just grow our way out of the debt. Our growth has not been so good, okay? Our growth has been anemic under you. We barely have GDP that's been growing. By the way, for most of the economy, for the average American person, 99% of the American people, we are in a massive recession or even a depression for most Americans. The rich people have made a lot of money and AI and data centers, and that's propped up the GDP to like 1.5%, 1.7% growth. But that's not some like incredible growth. People talk about the K-shaped economy. The rich have gotten richer. The poor are getting much poorer. And the middle class, there is no middle class in the United States anymore. But sure, tell us we're going to grow our way out of it, Donald. Here, play this clip.
Mr. President, national debt, as you know, it surpassed $40 trillion. Have you been discussing what to do about that?
Well, I have, and this has been a problem for 35 years. And what we have now that we've never had before, we had a pretty good piece of it in my first term, as you know, is we have tremendous growth. And the way you take care of debt is with growth. And we have tremendous growth. We've never had growth like we have right now. The growth will take care of that very easily.
Mr. President, on the beef deal,
So utterly sickening and ridiculous. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Pre-order WTF America now. Thanks everybody so much for watching. We're so grateful for you. We're so grateful for the Meidas Canada, the Maple Meidas. We're grateful for all our international audience. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let's keep on fighting together, okay?
Hey, if you want the full story, how democracy got here and how we take it back, pre-order our new book, WTF America, today. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Let's do this.